Mama Project. Hello, and welcome to the Balance Mama Project Radio. Today, y'all know it's us, but hi, I'm Dr. Saya, otherwise known as Saya, and this is,
I'm Dr. Val.
and we will be chatting about a few different topics, but a lot of, well, we'll be chatting about a few different topics, but a lot of mamas come in to sessions just to get us kicked off, and they'll be like, oh, there there's a list of questions about, oh, should I wear an abdominal binder, oh,
Mhm.
how do I get my core, I say core strength back. Some people are trying to bounce back, other people are just trying to feel stronger. There's a lot of different goals. And
Mhm.
so, and even some folks will come in. I had a mom who was about 6 or 7 months. She was like, how do I prevent diastasis recti? And this was,
Yeah. She was like 6 or 7 months
she was
pregnant.
6 or 7 months pregnant, and she's
Yeah, that's a
worried
big
about this
thing. Yeah,
in the
right.
longer term.
Right. People come in while pregnant and sometimes in the very beginning of pregnancy and they're like, "How do I make sure I don't have
This.
diastasis recti?" And then even postpartum, folks come in, they're like, "I think I have it. I don't know if I have it. I think I have it."
Can you
So,
check
yeah,
if
can you
I have
check
it?
it?
I love when people say, I tried to check. I'm like, I'm not mad at you. We want to know what's going on with our bodies.
Yes.
And then there's the mamas who are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. A senior
Right.
class was like, has anyone heard of this? And they
Right.
say, no.
And they're like, what even is that?
What is that?
We'll get into that today.
Yes. And so I guess a good starting point, Dr. Val, would be, so what is diastasis recti?
Right. So diastasis recti is, and it's funny because it's pronounced differently.
You're going to hear us say it
You're gonna
differently.
hear us say it differently. It is the same thing. DR, diastasis recti. It is a separation of our rectus abdominis muscle. So if you think about the front of your abdomen
Your six
and
pack.
your six pack muscles, yes, those ones, those showy, flashy six pack muscles, those are your diastasis recti. They go from top to bottom. All right. And so there is a separation that happens, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. But the separation that happens, that's what's called diastasis recti. It's a separation of this rectus abdominis muscle, and we'll talk about what is normal and what is not normal in just a little bit. But actually, I mean, we can get into it right now.
We
So
can.
honestly, really, what we're looking for when we check it, we do a slight curl of the chin and the shoulders in a lying down position, and we'll stick our fingers along the abdomen and see how much the rectus abdominis is separated. And so, to be honest, 1 to 2 fingers, that's that's normal. We're not worried about it,
Yes, we are
right?
not worried about
We're
it.
not worried about it. And that can be a normal separation in the general population as well. A non-pregnant person, a
True.
non-postpartum person. But when we look at, you know, 3 fingers are in between those muscles, or 4 fingers, 5 fingers, then we're looking at a true diastasis recti.
Yes. What I would say to that, that general region is already called your linea album. So
Mm-hmm.
it's connective tissue holding those muscles together. So they're still connected.
Mm-hmm.
I like to tell people, no, it's not a hernia. Nothing is coming
There's
out.
not a hole
There is
there.
not a hole. Your muscles are still connected. It's
Mm-hmm.
just this tissue that's holding your six pack. It's really an eight pack, y'all. You gotta look
It
at the
really
picture.
is. It really is.
But that tissue that's holding it together is just, it's stretched out. And so, like, when we think about pregnancy, that region is going to have to stretch with the
Yeah.
growing belly.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it comes back to that 1 to 2 fingers
Mm-hmm.
in that early postpartum, and in other cases, that
It's
region remains a little bit more stretched out.
yeah.
And
And
so,
and it's all about what's going to be the deciding factor is, have your appropriate muscles in your body kicked back on
mm-hmm,
in postpartum, or have they not? But we really want to emphasize the fact that during pregnancy, there is a natural stretch and lengthening of your abdominal muscles
accommodate.
to accommodate baby growing, and that is going to lead to a natural stretch, right? So we're talking about what happens after the fact, and how do we get those that stretch to come back, or how do we get that those muscles to kick back on?
Yes. I like it. I like it. Okay. Can we get into, so if someone hasn't seen PT, I'm going off the rails
That's
a
all
little bit,
right.
but if someone has not seen a PT, I always like to tell people there are other signs like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we might need another core check. And so I do tell people like, hey, if you see a little dome coming up in
Mm-hmm.
your fitness,
Yes.
that can be a sign that the
Yeah.
diastasis is hanging out. So my new
Yeah.
mommies, I'm like, if you see that, it
Yeah.
might mean a modification. But I know we're gonna get into.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that because things things to look out for, exactly what Dr. Saya was just saying, that doming or
Mm-hmm.
coning that can happen. You would notice that if you were like getting out of bed and you decide that you're just going to sit straight up and
Oh
you're
yes.
not going to roll and sit up as we would suggest. Um if you're not pregnant and you are doing like sit-ups or crunches or
Mm-hmm.
whatever types of abdominal workouts you're doing, even planks even, and you are seeing your abdomen kind of come to this kind of
Cone.
dome or cone
You're right.
shape, that is a surefire sign that we are not activating the appropriate muscles and there is a little bit of separation there. So
What I would say to that, yes, the dome, also the dip. If you have a mountain or if you have a valley at your belly, then we are likely talking about modifications.
mhm,
And one of the biggest things I tell people to modify, um, I don't say pressure management because people are like, "What are you talking about when you
mhm,
say it?" But I'm
mhm.
saying breathing. So how you
Yes.
breathe during your fitness matters so much more than a lot of people give it credit for. How
Mhm.
you breathe when you go about your regular life, lifting, moving the bowels on the toilet. All of
Yeah.
these things matter. And so when we talk about pressure management, it's usually breathing
Yeah.
plus how those muscles are activating, like Dr. Val said.
Yeah. So I'll give a case example to start off with. So actually, I'll give myself. So I've been a very active, physically active person all my life and used to play a lot of sports. But I also was not trained on or told how to breathe properly. So I was constantly breathing inappropriately or in a way that was going to change the pressures in my body and in my abdomen. Therefore, even before pregnancy, I had a little bit of separation in my abs. And that can sometimes, and what we'll talk about in just a minute, is that can sometimes lead to what we know as prolapse as
Mm,
well. And
mm.
so all of what we're going to talk about in a second is going to be key for not only making sure that that separation is as little as possible or decreasing the risk of that separation, but then also all of that is going to affect your pelvic floor. And so it all works together. But let's get into talking about some breathing. How do we breathe? When do we breathe?
Yeah, so the first cue is to breathe. If my mom's, or even if my other clients come in, and even for myself, a lot of times I don't know if y'all are exercising and you be like, "Oh, I forgot to catch my breath," or "Oh, it's like let me do a big gasp
Yeah.
because I know I haven't been breathing because this part was difficult." A lot of people stop breathing
On the difficult
altogether.
part. And then we are constantly cueing to
Breathe.
our clients, are you breathing? Do you remember to breathe? And it's so funny the amount of people who just be like, oh, no, I wasn't. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
forgot.
Yeah, no, it's the stare. When you say, "Were you breathing?" and usually they're like, "It's the squint." They're like, "No." I said, "I know. That's why I asked you,
No,
so
that's
that we
why.
both know
Yep.
that you weren't breathing." And so the first cue is to breathe,
Yes.
especially on the hard parts.
Yeah.
We talk about breathing, and then once we get used to saying, "Oh, we exhale,"
Mm.
because what we don't want to do is inhale, so we have all that extra pressure, all that extra air in the body, and then on top of that, we're trying to, yeah, we're
Hold.
holding it.
Don't hold it
Do
because the
not hold it
hold.
in the body. It
Yep.
has to go somewhere.
Exactly. Imagine a
It's gonna
balloon.
go
We
down.
love to talk about the balloon analogy, but imagine a balloon full of air. And if you're just holding and squeezing it and not breathing at all, where's that air going to go? It's going to go somewhere. Wherever you're holding
Pop.
tightly, it's going to pop or it's going to go somewhere. It's going to go down. Wherever you're holding tightly, that air is going to move in a different direction. as opposed to if you were able to let it all out.
Breathe out, let the air up and out.
Mm-hmm.
When we don't let the air up and out, it's either going to push at the belly or push at the pelvic floor. And
Correct.
what we don't need is more stretch along that linear elbow. What we don't want is more pressure on the pelvic floor because that can look like leaks. That can look like prolapse, like Dr. Val said when we talk about um, the shortest term putting it is the vagina can have it can fall down a little bit, y'all. It
Mm-hmm.
can. I don't want to make this sound like a scary.
The short and sweet of it too is that the pelvic floor is a hammock. In amongst a lot of other different properties and characteristics that it has, it is also a hammock, and it's holding all of your pelvic organs, right, and then subsequently your abdominal organs. And so again, with that balloon, if you are holding, squeezing, not
All that
breathing,
pressure.
all that pressure is actually just going to push down into those pelvic floor muscles, which are like tiny muscles. I mean,
They're sturdy enough
they're
to hold
sturdy.
everything.
They're sturdy and they're designed to hold things, but they do not like it when you put too much work on them,
Yes,
right?
we don't want the organ shifting
Mm-mm.
or shifting down, I should say.
Exactly. And so when we're talking about when to breathe and making sure that you breathe, you definitely, as Dr. Saya was saying, you definitely want to do it on the effort. So what do we mean by that? When we say that, whatever is going to be effortful for you. So, for instance, when you're doing a squat, the most effort that you are producing during a squat is you coming from being at a low point to standing back up in that squat. So, that would be the time where you would be
Phew.
exhaling to make sure that all the muscles are activating properly and you're getting all that air out of your body as you're doing that. So think about picking up baby or picking up a carrier or picking up a stroller.
Oh yeah, that carrier tears people up.
Right.
Girl tears
When
people
you are
up.
doing that, it is so important to make sure that you're gathering it, bringing it close to your body. And then as you are standing up, that's when you're exhaling. So you're inhaling going down, you're exhaling as you are standing up, making sure that you are getting all of those, recruiting all of those muscles necessary to stand.
Can I make a quick comment on the exhale?
Yes.
The way that you exhale, we don't have to get, well, I'm getting a little bit into the nitty gritty. If you do like, huh, like a deep sigh, you're probably not going to get enough back pressure. So sometimes I'll say, blow like you're blowing out a birthday candle. Oh,
Yeah.
like a controlled exhale
Yeah.
if you would like to get into it.
Yeah.
Um,
Like you're blowing a dandelion
oh, that's cute.
or you know,
Blowing a
like
dandelion. I know
letting
people
little
blow into their
seeds.
fists and be like, where it's like you can feel your core. That helps the core engage as well.
Exactly, exactly.
And so, I guess to our point, a big part of pressure management, breathing in the short and sweet, and then learning how to re engage those core muscles.
Yeah.
So, during pregnancy, yes, the muscles are stretched out. They're still working hard.
Hmm.
During postpartum, it's not just tiny one is out. Those muscles are trying to learn how to reactivate in a new position again. They've been
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't see
Super
me if you're
stretched.
listening to this, but if
Super stretched. They've been very, very stretched. And
and
they've had
now
to learn how to activate again and shorten again.
re-engage in their new positions.
Hmm.
What a lot of moms will ask about, which is interesting, is, and I guess we're shifting topics, abdominal binders.
Mm.
And so since we're talking about core, just like I tell
Hmm.
people for a knee brace or for like um a shoulder support, a lot of times the braces are doing what we want your muscles to do.
Yes.
So the same thing for abdominal binders. When people are like, "Oh, should I throw on this binder immediately after?" I'm like, "Well, we do want your core muscles to activate." And
Yes.
so the answer for most things is it depends.
It depends.
But for our talk today, Dr. Val, I know you have some strong feelings on
I
this.
have some strong feelings. Well, I what I will say is by no means is what we're telling you today something that you definitely should do. You definitely should talk to your personal provider. But what
Absolutely.
we will say is abdominal binders, just like Dr. Say was saying, are used to help support. But the main goal, especially immediately postpartum, is that your muscles relearn and retrain how to activate. And they will not do that if they have too much support, if
And
they
all the
have
time.
support all the time. And so if you're going to use an abdominal binder, here's when we do not, definitely do not recommend you use it. So we don't recommend you use it when you're sitting down,
Or
when
sleeping.
or when you're sleeping, when you're lying down. Okay, those are times where your muscles are need to be relaxed anyway.
Yeah.
And so there's no need for the abdominal binder during those times. Now, if you are someone who, you're a new mom, and as you are washing the bottles and the parts and this and that, and you're noticing you're having pain as you're standing and things like that, one, that's a cue to go see someone. But two, you may require just a little bit more
A little
support,
boost.
a little boost to remind your muscles to activate. We also, another thing with the abdominal binders is a lot of times people want to wear it all day long. But the problem with that is your body then gets used to that stimulus, and it gets used
Used
to
to that
that
support.
support.
Correct.
Exactly.
And to that point, even when my folks are like, "Oh, should I put on this binder to start my exercise?" I'm like, "No, ma'am. Typically, we want your muscles to learn how to do the exercise." I love that you were like, "Yeah, specific tasks and activities." Cause I'm like, yeah, if you're up, out all day and you're like, "I need a little boost," okay. And typically, I will say something different if someone ends up birthing their child vaginally
Yes.
versus birthing
With
via cesarean.
cesarean. Yeah,
Yeah. Because a lot of times I'm like, cesarean, it still is a major abdominal surgery. And
it
I
is.
was like, I'm still in favor of treating it as
Sure.
such. So if there is physician recommendations, and even sometimes if you're just like, oh, like I need a little bit of a boost, then sometimes a soft abdominal binder early on,
Yes.
can be helpful.
And we are not, when we're saying abdominal binders in this whole entire talk, we are not talking about rigid, anything rigid.
Yeah, if it's squeezing you like the corset, no ma'am.
Please
This
no.
do not
Because again, go back to the balloon. If you're squeezed like a corset because you're maybe trying to bounce back or whatever the case may be,
the waist
think
snatched.
about where the pressure is going. It is hitting those pelvic organs, and we might lead into leakage, and we don't want any of that. We don't
No,
want
we don't.
none of them problems. We don't want
That's
none of them
true.
problems.
That's one of my key things with the exercise in the binder. I'm like, no, you can exercise without it. Work on your breathing,
Yeah.
work on your core engagement.
Yeah.
If you're noticing that you can't do the exercise without it, then we need to do a modify the
Yeah.
exercise or have some help with the exercise.
Because another thing too is we talked about breathing, and we focused a lot on the exhale, and equally as important is that inhale, expansion of the ribs.
Mm-hmm. Yes, good
And
point.
particularly because, especially in early postpartum, your ribs are still pretty flared, right? And so we want you to get a good inhale, and then we also want you to practice exhaling and contracting and drawing in. And you're not going to necessarily be able to do either of those things if you are constricted in
In a
a
binder.
in a binder. It's
I
just going
know
to be
the
a little
binding
restricted.
sounds. Yeah, binder already said it sounds real strong at baseline. It does. It does. Other
It
things to
does.
note: if you are already a breath holder at baseline, the binder may not yet be for you.
Yeah.
And so we say that because, like Dr. Val said, the pressure must go somewhere. And so if it's not going into the belly and it's not going up out of the body, then it surely can go down into the pelvic floor. So we are
Mm-hmm.
not anti-binder by any means. A
Mm-mm.
lot of times people can use it as like a training wheel, like an early support.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely lean towards that discussion more with my moms who are birthing via cesarean
Correct.
versus vaginal delivery.
Yep.
A lot of times for vaginal delivery, or not delivery, birthing your child vaginally, you are an
Mhm.
active, you
Yeah.
are the most
Everyone is
active
delivering.
birthing.
Yes.
Everyone is birthing. I was like, you are actively working. So for the vaginal births, I'm usually like working on the pelvic floor, and then the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gradual return of the core can be important.
Yep.
And since we're talking about fitness, two types of fitness, I'm sure there are more, but two types of fitness that definitely can be great ways to breathe and start to engage the body. And
Mhm.
although impact or Tai Chi, y'all know I'm a Tai Chi fan.
Okay, we are biased, and we're not
We are
even
biased.
ashamed to say it. We are biased, but Tai Chi, Dr. Saya is a lovely Tai Chi instructor. And then yoga is also very, very, very helpful. Both are
Yeah.
practices that are going to help you focus on your breathing and breathing appropriately, fully, deeply, and recruiting those muscles in a
Mm,
mindful way. It's all about mindfulness, and
it
we
is.
are so, so key on mindful movement.
I love that. Yes, the mindful
Yeah,
movement. This is
yeah.
like, especially early postpartum, even during pregnancy, it's a great time to do either one of those activities. So I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're not having to jump, hop, skip. It's just you breathe.
Mhm.
You engage your core. You breathe. You work the arm. I
Yes.
think the yoga with the inversions might work the arms a little more. But Tai Chi,
Yeah.
we're hanging in there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Side note,
Mhm.
this is so unrelated. I have always wanted to have a Tai Chi class where I'm like, hi, Tai Chi Tigers. My brother said that one day. Hilarious that
Tigers.
I cracked up. One day I'm going to be like, hi, Tai Chi Tigers, and start Tai Chi class.
That's all right. That might be our new motto for our Tai Chi classes for moms. Hi, Tai Chi Tigers. Let's go.
Let's get it going.
You can drop in the comments whether or not you rock with that or you don't want to be called a tiger.
Don't go too
It's
hard,
okay.
though.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
go too hard on the
Yeah.
Tai Chi Tiger
Yeah.
name.
It's okay. It's okay if you don't. We'll respect it, but don't kill us. Okay. So, and then another thing about quote unquote exercise, we talked about Tai Chi and we talked about yoga, but really it's about getting back to your functional activities.
Yep,
And so you are going to, it's a progression.
it
Okay.
is.
It's not a jump, it's not a leap, it's a progression into your functional task. That's what's really going to set you up for success to return back to, let's say you used to work out at the gym, or let's say you used to
Run.
run, or whatever the case
CrossFit.
may be. Yeah,
Any
CrossFit.
of the things.
It's a progression back to those things.
I like that you said that, and even the emphasis on functional, because you don't always have time, especially early postpartum, to say, hey, I'm gonna do all of these different fitness activities.
Hmm.
But lifting your baby, getting on and off the floor, lifting the carrier, like you said, all of these are exercise like movements in the idea that, yeah, you're gonna have to lunge sometimes. Yeah, you're gonna have to do a squat. Yeah,
Yeah.
you are lifting weight. Cause I said tiny chunkies, they're gaining some weight every week.
Every week.
And so,
And so that is a progression in itself, right? You've
yes.
got a literal build right there of lifting baby from the crib, from the floor, from
Mhm.
the changing table. All of those things are going to, from the bed, wherever the surface is, that is your time to implement your exercises. Those are your exercises.
You can feel your buttock muscles working. You can feel your abdominal muscles kicking on. You can practice your breathing with those. If there was ever a time to do it, that's a great time. So that way, when you get back into
Hmm.
whatever type of fitness, your muscles are already used to kicking on in that capacity.
Yeah.
Just like you've been squatting.
Exactly. And we've talked about lower range lifting, but then also even as you're putting dishes away, consider you reaching and lifting. That's also something you're having to rotate your
Mm-hmm.
torso. Your muscles are activating in that space too if you are being mindful of this movement and breathing with it. So all of those things are retraining those muscles that were stretched to activate again.
And I think, or not even I think, I know in our prior, might be masterclass, might be prior podcast,
Mhm.
we talk about alignment of ribs over hips. We talk about
Mhm.
how to engage the core,
Mhm.
and then even pelvic floor engagement. I am always a fan. If ever in doubt, I'm like, see your provider, see someone who can assist you.
Yes.
And I know even in the Balance Mama project, we'll also do some some training on like
Yes.
how to move,
Yes.
what feels best for the body, how can
Yeah.
we modify based on specifically you and your tiny one and
Exactly.
your goals, your activities that you do in daily life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're super big on that. And so another thing that we really focus on too is making sure that you prioritize rest
Mhm.
and hydration.
Mhm.
Both of those things are extremely key in order for you to progress. Your body, particularly postpartum, requires so much rest for a myriad of different reasons.
Yes. Yep.
But if only we're picking one for this conversation, to make sure that the muscles have time to recuperate and build back up, right? We cannot put too much on them in the very beginning. And then hydration, again, if only we're talking about it for the purposes of this conversation, your muscles and ligaments, all these things need hydration, need the water to be replenished back into the body. Particularly if you are a birthing person who has decided to breastfeed or provide milk to your baby,
Hmm.
that is something that is going to deplete you of hydration. And so you, in particular, need to make sure that you're hydrated. But just in general, you've gone from having so much blood volume and so much fluid volume in your body during pregnancy to then delivering your baby and not having as much. So your body is working with different fluid balances and needs that consistency.
Yeah, definitely a fan of the hydration. Because when it's like, I want to exercise, it's like, are you eating? Are you sleeping?
That's
Are you
number one.
hydrating? Because like the basic needs
Right.
must be met
Right.
versus pushing ourselves beyond. Because even if someone had not just had a baby, I'm like, if you're not eating, you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
We don't need to burn energy that's not there. We don't. We don't.
You cannot burn energy from when you're on E.
Nope,
You
you
just can't.
can't. Then neither can the car. And so we got to get gas. And so hence your body needs the
Yes.
water, the
Fuel
food,
up.
the sleep. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so with that being said, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, you guys. We hope you took something from it. Mamas, stay balanced, and we will see you next time.